Hello, 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 everyone. So glad that you could join us this evening for Keeping It Classy. We're super excited about tonight because we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to literally share and help each and every one of you at home. So we want tonight to be able to be a night of transformation. So we're going to help one another. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Make sure that you go down to the bottom of the screen and share, because what we're going to be discussing tonight is very, 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 very important. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves and then I'll come back and give you guys our topic. So I'm going to go the way that I see us. So I'm going to shoot over to Shay.
You're on this side of me, but okay, I know it's something completely opposite. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching live, we do ask that you comment #live. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and let us know that you're watching the replay. I am Shay Owens. I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm running currently 2 businesses, working on a book, mother, wife, friend, servant of the Lord. And really, I'm just excited that we have this platform to come in, break chains, and really bring healing not just to others, but to ourselves as well.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chanel. I'm Chanel Monique, upcoming artist. I am a servant of the Most High God. I probably should have led with that. That's the most important thing to me. I am a mom, and I am a upcoming author, and I am really, really excited to be here tonight.
Awesome. I am pastor, prophet, coach Nakia Shipman. I am the body life pastor of Walk in the Spirit Church of God in Christ. I always got to give that shout out because I love my Walk in the Spirit folks. I am a coach, life, business, relationship, all of that great stuff. Consulting, I do it all. However, tonight we want to share. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into that part. Who I am isn't that important tonight. But our topic tonight is just overcoming those not okay moments.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really, really important topic. And so what we want to have the opportunity to do, because it's about beating depression. It's about us having the ability to share with you guys at home some tips, some tools, all of that stuff, but also allow you guys into our space so that way you can understand some of the hurdles that we have overcome, to understand that it is possible, that you are not alone, and just having the ability to share. And so we expect tonight to be different. We expect tonight to be one of healing, to be one of transformation, and to be one where we can be ourselves and literally have the ability to share and find family and safe spaces here so that we can grow and become better. I was gonna say amen like we at church and like but no, but we want to make sure that everybody at home understands that this night isn't just about the three of us. It's about each and every one of you at home, because we know that depression, especially with COVID happening and so many other things, that it has been a big thing, but it's also a big silent thing. And so sometimes we suffer silently and alone. And so tonight's conversation should give you some tips and some tools to carry.
That's awesome. She's so amazing at what she does. I'm telling
She
you.
is.
So we're going to actually jump right in. Key had said something that was so pivotal the other day. And I was like, hold on, let me write this down. And she really just said that God is not ashamed of me, right?
Oh, that's
We have to
good.
make a decision to let him into that space, into that moment, because he already sees it, even in those secret places that we lie to ourselves about. I know I'm guilty of that. I know I'm guilty of, if you call my phone and I'm dealing with some stuff, you may not get an answer. You may not get a reply, because I'm trying to cast down imagination, right? Because that's what us saints are supposed to do. So I'm trying to like cast down that imagination, but sometimes I get in that place where I feel stuck. Like I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to show up for anybody. I don't want to cook. I don't want to work out. There's so many things that I just don't want to do, you know, in that space as well.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. I know, and for me, when I am battling, well, when I'm not okay, I think that me, like a lot of people, the first thing we do is isolate. And I think that's probably the worst thing to do because, like when we isolate, it get kind of weird inside those walls. You know what I mean? And what I mean is that um, a part of us wants to expose ourselves and we want to be okay. We want somebody to help us out. But then if we go and isolate and we box ourselves in and we keep everybody out, then we're left to deal with all of these emotions that likely a lot of times are not even we perceive something to be so that isn't. Does that make sense? So like, so for instance, I could feel like maybe I was rejected by something maybe somebody said, and I take that and I go inside my walls, and that seed that I perceive to be rejection, I go on the wall and it festers. How can I'm going through this again? I'm going through that again, and it builds and builds and builds to that I'm not okayness turns into depression, and now you don't want to talk to anybody because in that wall, in those walls, in that box of isolation, you have already like grown a whole tree from that one seed of rejection. And really, if you just have a conversation, if you like talk it out with somebody else, because there's somebody that we all can trust, like, so if we go to like trusted space, then we could realize that maybe it wasn't rejection at all. Maybe it was just something that somebody else was doing and didn't even hear us. Like I called out to somebody and then they didn't hear me. Wow, oh, they could hear everybody else, but not my voice. Like it gets weird in this little box of isolation. But I think it's important to not like to try to strive to be on the outside side still without putting ourselves in the box of isolation.
Yeah.
So I agree with that, but what I want to do is kind of touch back on the original point that Shay had just brought up. Not to take away from isolation, but I think this will help with what Chanel was just talking about, because when you think about isolation, you normally aren't thinking trust, because my first thought was ain't nobody you can trust.
Right.
So when you're isolating, you're normally not connecting with a person of trust. You're not thinking logically. But when we go back to that original statement about not being ashamed of what we really feel, we can take it to God. The difference about God is that he's not going to tell it. So that's different. So, but in order for you to get to that safety of having the ability to trust a Chanel, a Shay, a Nakia, whoever your friend is, a Crystal, a Heather, no matter the person's name, but in order for you to normally get to that place when you're in depression, you have to have the ability to be able to beat shame. The reality is, and this is just something that we all should probably just deal with and address, is just as a Christian, right? We're going to start with that part. The expectation that you feel people have is that you're not sad, because right. The joy of the Lord is my strength. And, I have the garment of praise for my heaviness and, all of those things that you have been taught and learned. So it's like, I don't want to tell anybody that I'm sad and depressed. I don't want to.
Well, not just that, Keith, like being a Christian and a coach, and you're not just Christian, you're also a pastor. So it's like we have these added pressures to be at a certain level of not perfection, but even in self. So even what you said earlier about just don't deny it, like don't be in denial about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the most important thing, is just having the ability to identify where you are. The reality is oftentimes you don't feel safe, right? You don't feel safe. I'm a coach, I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian, I'm an intercessor. I'm always on an intercessory call. So I'm declaring for everybody else, and I'm really depressed in myself. And so who do I tell? Do you tell your husband and now you feel weak and that's going to be used against you? Or so now you have this heaviness of shame. So forget just depression. So the reality is that you have to have the ability to overcome that. Realize that God is safety. The one thing I tell people is that if I have nothing else, I have prayer. It is my lifeline. It is the air I breathe, because when I can't talk to man, I can talk to God. When I can't find solace in anything else, I find safety in prayer, because we have relationships. So the Father and I talk to each other. There is no shame. I go naked. I go in my sorrow, my pity, the stuff that people might judge. I go to him and I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to feel bad about it. So what I would say to those of you at home, though, because shame is a big thing, so is guilt. The reality is, though, in order for you to be able to overcome, because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about you guys remaining in depression.
Right.
We're talking about you overcoming depression. So beat shame. And then the way that you beat shame is identifying, yes, Lord, I'm depressed. Yes, Lord, these are things that I literally, that have happened, I didn't deal with. I kept decompressing. I kept pushing it down. And Father, now we're here. And have the ability to talk to him. You may not be able to share it physically with a friend, with a person right away.
Right.
I said right away. You need to be able to, talk through some stuff too. But have the ability to go to the Holy Spirit and release all of that stuff. The one thing I understand is that he is not ashamed of me. There is nothing that I can do. The one thing the Holy Spirit just recently showed me is that there is nothing that qualifies me. There is nothing that disqualifies me. So that means that even in my filth, even in my worst state, that he still loves me. He still literally sent the ultimate price, which was Jesus, for me. So that means that, guess what? In my depression, I am worthy. If I was on the brink of suicide, still feeling not worthy, guess what? He has already sent his son to cover all of that stuff. So don't allow the enemy to use shame to trap you, because it's a trap. That's what he wants you to do. He wants you to feel like you can't tell the Father. At the end of the day, you can say, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I feel alone, I feel empty, I feel all of this stuff. And guess what the Father's not going to do? He is not going to judge you. He is not shocked. He is not in awe. He is not amazed by where you are. He understands it. He's waiting on you to come to him for the release. He's waiting on you for the resolve. He's waiting on you because guess what? He has healing for you. He has resolve. He has the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. And I need you to understand that it may not be instantaneous, but each day begin to declare the power over the enemy. Shame will not defeat me. Lord, I feel depressed, but not as depressed as I did yesterday. I felt on 0 yesterday. I'm at 1 today. So even though I'm not at 100%, I understand that I'm on my way to a different place.
Absolutely. It's a process to get there and a process to get back,
Right. But I think before even all of that happens, like we said, we can't isolate yourself. I think that in the beginning, we kind of have to figure out what's going on with us, right? So I think for me, I'm going to speak for me because I've suffered from depression for years and I've overcome it. And so there's little bouts of time where I end up feeling depressed again. And I will be like, I'm feeling really depressed. The difference is I choose not to stay in that space, right? So for me to really get to that place where I'm like, how did this happen? What started to happen in my life? What was my environment like before that happened? What was going on around me before I started feeling that way, right? So for me, I try and go back and identify what was it that triggered me so that I can deal with the actual root and the trigger of me sinking into this depression or me sinking into a place of I'm not okay. Do any of you feel like that?
So I guess for me, that wouldn't be in the beginning for me though. So, because like my first go-to is the Father, like literally, like because I don't even know how I'm gonna get to rationalize my environment, what happened, because normally it's so much stuff that you've tucked away. You know what I'm saying? So in sorting, I would be overwhelmed and trying to figure out, okay, so what created this? And the only reason I say that is because I haven't given it to him. I haven't given him the first that I'm in this place. That doesn't pull me out. But if I haven't given it to him for him to literally settle me, to be able to dig into me, like, because you got to dig down. And so that means I got to go through some rough stuff. If I haven't given it to him, that means I'm not going to be ready for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to just keep working. I'm going to keep going. So I have to literally go to him first and like, listen, Lord, I'm in this dark space. You know what I'm saying?
I don't always go there. I don't always as soon as I'm starting to feel it, like I'm in it, I can't lie. My first thought is sometimes not running to the Father, even though he's always reached in, pulled me out, once I've released it to him or I've prayed for peace, that surpasses all of my understanding, or me and Dad talk like this, like, I'm gonna need you to come in here and fix this. Because if you don't, the old Shay may come out and you don't want that, right? So that's how my relationship is. And he always does. He'd be like, all right, daughter, I got you. But I can't lie. Sometimes the enemy has me. Like there's been times I've called Nakia, or actually, I've avoided Nakia's phone call. She was like, "Look, I'm about to show up at your house,"
Mhm.
or I've called Chanel and
I know.
um, but the thing is, we all go through something. We Every single person. There's not one person who cannot tell me they don't go through
Yeah.
something that just feels like they've been punched in the stomach. And
Yeah.
the key is not to stay in that place. So a lot of the tips that we're going to just go through tonight really is just to help you overcome that not okay moment, or help you overcome that depressed moment. So one of the tips here I want to go ahead and put up, which is to just shift your mindset. The enemy wants your thoughts to focus on only on the negative. It is definitely important that you counteract those negative thoughts with something positive. So when the enemy tells you that you're not something, you can say that I am that, as the song says. And when the enemy tells you that you're never going to have more than what you have right now, he's a liar. He's
He
a
is a
liar.
liar.
And letting him know, reminding yourself who the enemy is every single day will help you in not being stuck in that sad place. Because I hear, being coaches, we hear a lot of things that go on, right?
Mhm.
Um, I don't ever, let me rephrase that. I try not to ever say your situation is not as bad because there's other things. Yeah, we can always compare,
Right.
apples to oranges. Yeah, we can be thankful that we're not living on the streets. We can be thankful for all these other things, but it doesn't mean that what that person is feeling isn't real to them.
Right.
Some of us be like, okay, I'm gonna move past it. I'm gonna get past it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Everybody doesn't have that bounce back,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. So remind you, keep looking, because Key
I'm
definitely.
trying to wait. I know. I don't believe in interrupting. That's all.
Yeah.
Look, Key's like, look, I don't deal with that. But what we want to hear from those watching right now, what is something that you are facing or you were going through? Inbox us, let us know, comment, so that we can also help you and stand in agreement with you that you shall overcome, that you are going to overcome this situation, or you are, even if it's somebody that it may not even be you.
So that's why I was looking like that, right? So
Yeah.
so what I wanted to say is like y'all talk about me and my talking. You said it real high techy. What I want to do, because my that's my whole little my parenting realistically, ministering. So I want to just go all the way down to the bare bones. Like sometimes we have to hype ourselves. We got to be our hype
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yes.
Um in order to shake depression. That's just the
Hmm.
reality. Like it don't always feel good. And so when I say hype man, I mean because we know that sometimes when you hyping people, we lying. So I'm just saying that's the truth. Anywho, I'm gonna keep going. So I'm saying, even though you don't feel it, start being your hype man. There is so
Yeah.
much power in our words. So
Absolutely.
versus saying, oh, I'm not gonna come out of this, or I don't even really know how to feel. Begin to be your hype person. Like, oh, this is gonna
Mm-hmm.
change. Be willing to fight for you. That's what I will say. Like literally,
Absolutely.
just like if you were in a world or you were fighting another person, fight for you to come out of depression, fight for you to change what it looks like. And so that means, just like her comment said, I'm just trying to make it, tangible for you to pick up and go. Literally, don't stick to the negative. Don't. Okay, so guess what? This happened, that happened, all of this stuff was bad, all of it was wrong. What can I change? If I can't change it, let me impact my life in a different way that
Absolutely.
causes positive reactions, that causes
Hmm.
positive
Absolutely.
things to begin to come to me. If I can't change it, it's not for me to change. If God didn't give me authority over it to change it, that means that situation is that situation. So let me
Hmm.
begin to speak life into other areas. Let me begin to find what I am passionate about. Let me begin to find what
Absolutely.
God has called me to, what He is putting my hands to. Sometimes the reason we get stuck into those modes of depression is because we're not looking out. We're not
Hmm.
looking for a way
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Because we are stuck, it's kind of like not even necessarily a pity party, but it's like I don't have to do anything here.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That's the difference.
some people do. Let me. I want to be careful when I say that. I don't want to say those people that stay stuck in that place, right? But if you get with somebody and all they're doing is feeding you, if I go to my sisters and I'm like, look, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I'm facing, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to let me stay in that place. They're going to be like,
Absolutely.
okay, let's figure this thing out. Let's figure out how you can move forward, or what happened that caused you. Because sometimes the things that we are depressed over are the things that we put ourselves in situations with. You went out there
That
and
part.
slept with a married man. Now you mad because he want his wife and not you, and you depressed over this man
That
that,
part.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, ain't no D that good. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you shouldn't sleep with a married man, but that's a whole nother topic, y'all. But I'm just saying sometimes
We'll
we
get
push
to it.
ourselves, or even in friendship,
Mm-hmm.
right? In business, I don't accept everybody's business. I'm okay to say no. You're not my ideal client. I'm not your ideal person. I'm okay for that, and I still want to wish you the best. But I know that if something is not conducive to my growth, my healing, then a part of me needs to step aside because I'm not going to put myself back in a situation where I'm going to be fighting depression all the time. I had a friend that used to call me, talk about her ex dude all the time. And I remember one time she called and it was so bad because I felt for my friend. I didn't want her in that situation. It had been years and years and years of just things being toxic, right? But she chose to stay. And in that I didn't choose that though. So why does that have to hurt me in that way? You don't want to say, but I can't continue to listen because you're not doing anything to get out of that situation in that moment. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I literally, when she went to talking about it again, I had to stop and just pray and give it to God. Because for
Absolutely.
me, it was interrupting me. I was hurting for her. I was hurting for her children. I was hurting for just the things that she was going through over and over because I had been there. I had been in domestic violence relationships. And that is, if we keep ourselves in that place, then now you got to take accountability. Go ahead, Key itching. Go ahead.
Of course, I stand on the other side of the street. Just simply because, especially like you said, as a domestic violence survivor, I think we all understand the judgment. That's where shame come normally, and how you stay stuck in depression, but also
Hmm.
how you stay stuck in domestic violence, right? Is because you don't feel like you have anybody to tell. And so I know that your heart hurt, but oftentimes what we need to get out of those situations is
Hmm.
for that strength of that strong friend who can be fed up and can say enough is enough to keep praying, to keep pushing,
Oh
because
yeah, I
sometimes
definitely did
we
that.
don't always know our own value and worth. And so us
Yeah.
staying normally is because we do have low self-esteem. We do struggle with shame. We do struggle with guilt. We do struggle with, I'm obligated to my kids to give them what I didn't have. And so we have all of these other things, or maybe I will be alone because guess what? I'm living in a place that I have literally no family other than this man. And there are so many other things, but
Mhm.
because it seems like people are more quick to judge and be like, well, you know what? I can't deal with this, so I'm gonna leave you. So
Yeah.
now the person that I loved and thought was my friend, that, was my support, that was literally the strength that eventually probably would have got me out, has now left. And all I got is still my abuser. So
Yeah.
sometimes I think that sometimes we have to also, as friends, as I'm not even gonna say children of God, I'm just gonna say as friends, sisters, just being attached, is sometimes kind of push that out of the way. Like, try to remove the emotion part of it, because I know that it can be weighty, but I also know that without your strength, they normally stay in it longer. Without
Yeah.
your push or your agitation of, so why are you still there? Sometimes that
Yeah.
disdain literally causes them to get a strength to say,
Yeah.
maybe I am really worth more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
Mhm.
Well,
sometimes we wash
let me
our
be very
hands.
clear.
Okay.
Let me be very clear. That situation, it was years. I'm talking about like 8 years of her saying, "Hey, what do you think I should do?" Don't ask me my opinion because now you open up that. I mean, this is like a consistent, like every conversation, every time. And like I told her, when you are sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you will do something about it. And when you do, I'm still there. But for me, literally, it was weighing. And you have, okay, hands down, you got to be concerned about your mental well being. If
But
I come in,
sometimes you don't. So literally, so we're talking about overcoming depression, y'all.
yeah,
And literally, and being realistic. So even in this moment, like, sometimes it's hard to accept that this is depression.
yeah,
This is harming me. Like, I mean, so I need that from, this is for me. Like, so for me, the real moment is that I then have to kind of be able to assess me, right? And
exactly.
oftentimes that's difficult because that means I have to own up to me allowing somebody to mishandle me allowing somebody to betray me,
Yeah.
me allowing or putting my trust in somebody who didn't deserve it. So these are difficult things that a person has to deal with to even
Yeah.
get to why they're depressed, right? Why
Mhm.
I'm in this bind, why I feel like this, why I'm feeling hopeless, what exactly was it? And most times it's something that we've done, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's the wrong relationship, whether it's the wrong job, no matter what it is, it's something that I've connected to. And so most people don't want to first deal with that part. So having the ability to first identify that I am depressed
Mhm.
is difficult, because that's a self-assess. Like, I have to have the ability to say, I don't want to leave this, I don't want to leave my bedroom, I don't want to leave my house, I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
Did you check your heart to see if you okay? You know, sometimes, and you'll continue to just pacify it and not deal with it. And
Yeah.
then when you start dealing with it, again, it's shame. You know, I'm a prayer warrior. Should I be? Deal with your heart issues. Because I'm a prayer warrior don't mean I don't get hurt. Because I'm a
Right.
pastor don't mean people don't. And people lie to you, betray you, especially because you're a pastor. So all of this stuff that you deal with, I'm still human. Because
Absolutely.
I am an intercessor, that does not make me, well, I feel like sometimes it make me invincible. Okay. But that ain't all the time. When I'm suffering with that
Right.
silent
That's absolutely
depression,
right.
I don't feel invincible. Now, but when I done powered up on G status and I've been praying all day and I feel like I done touched the feet of Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
depression or nothing else can stop me. But when you are in those dark closets, the reason we're talking about overcoming is because we all understand that at some point you get in a place of isolation, you get in a place where you tuck away, and that means that at that point the enemy is talking to you. The enemy is
Absolutely.
like, you know, girl,
Nobody cares.
not only do they not care, you are by yourself, they can't be trusted. Girl, I don't know why you trusted them from the very beginning. You've been saying you don't trust nobody, but you gonna trust them. Hello, they shady anyway, they ain't got no job, they steal. Hello.
Right.
Absolutely.
So all of a sudden now the enemy is bringing up all of the stuff that you should have thought about, why you ain't think about it. Please excuse the glare on my glasses. You know, I'm blind in one eye, so it's gonna keep glaring. It's distracting me. But anyway, but at the end of the day, the enemy is of course going to remind you, you know, and play tricks on your mind. So you have to literally take authority. When I say that, I know that when you're in a low place, sometimes it's like it seems hard, but you have to choose to take back your fight, literally. At the
Absolutely.
end of the day, when you are in your darkest and at your lowest place, fight for you the way you will for somebody else. That's the only way I can really tell people, because we can literally sit here on this platform all day and say, fight, fight, fight. But the reality is we normally have more fight for others than we do ourselves. So think
Absolutely.
about you as your sister. Think about you as your mom or your best friend.
Absolutely.
Who would you fight your hardest for? Normally, what I have to challenge myself to do is think about if this was your baby girl. Think about if this were your sons. You know, I go to my children because I know that I'm going to fight my hardest. Like, I will stop at nothing. I'm fighting little kids, big kids, and their mamas, line them up with my baby. So at the end of the day, when depression comes, I get to choose today to fight for Naya. Choose today, because I
Absolutely.
understand that if I subject to depression, that impacts them.
That's right.
I can't be the best mother. I can't be the best intercessor, and not just mommy, right? Let's think about the intercessor that covers their children, you know,
That's
when they
right.
are at school, on their jobs. I can't be that if I'm stuck in this rut. So
That's
that
right.
means I have to command my soul, myself, to get up for, if I won't do it for me, do it for Naya. And so when I begin, so get you a why. That's what I'm gonna tell everybody at home.
Like,
Get
I
you a
was
why.
just about to say that.
What
Get a
is your
why.
why? What's the thing that you will not stop for? So there are those things people always say, I will fight a brick, I will fight heaven, hell, I'm going to get Jesus, we going to get Satan, I'm boxing anybody, because I'm not going to stop until they are safe, till they are healed,
Absolutely.
till they are delivered. So whatever your why is, get that thing in that moment. So depression, literally, y'all, it is a thing that we can say, if you got to have a why, you got to choose.
You gotta have a why.
Depression isn't that big that, oh, it just overtakes me, and I just no. If you choose your why, trust me, it's just like being on your last bout in a fight and you feel like, oh, I'm out. No, I'm not losing. My baby need to come home. So that means you're gonna give it all you got. So that's what you gotta go back and have the ability to remember. It's what's my why. My why is my
Absolutely.
babies. My why is the intercessors. My why is I need to cover my leader. My why, whatever your why is, whatever it is that I will stop at nothing. Whatever that
Absolutely.
is, that's what you grab. When silent depression comes, grab that thing. Because I guarantee you're not gonna let it go. You're not gonna stop. Depression, what? No, I need to fight for my leaders. I need to fight for my church. I need to fight
Absolutely.
because
My friends,
innately
yeah.
we're protectors and fighters. But when it comes to us, we just don't concern ourselves
Right.
with ourselves. I used
Right.
to
That goes to
all the
healing too.
time.
That
What you
goes
say?
to like just taking care of yourself, your mental health, right? So I'm just gonna be real honest and transparent because that's what we do here on Keeping It Classy. Literally, I have been going non-stop for weeks. First, it was because the kids were gone, so husband and I tried to act like we was 19 again, hanging out till late nights in the morning. The next thing was now I'm busy with work because I took this time off. Then my kids came back, and then it's going to mommy mode, trying to get the house back together. Like all of these different things. And what's happening is I've overwhelmed myself. I'm ripping and running. I'm not stopping. I'm saying yes to things I probably should be saying no to. And now I'm tired.
Mhm.
Now I'm tired and I don't have the necessary fight to give and then I'm saying I just want to stay in bed to rest, right? That which may be the case,
Mhm.
but then the enemy starts playing again.
Mhm.
Look at you. You don't even know how to balance your home. Look at you. How you gonna be a coach? Look at you.
Accuser.
Everybody, all of these different things. Now the enemy has a playground. All he's gonna look for is a little door to get in, right? So I would say like to help overcome the depression, which is what we're talking about today, or overcoming the obstacles and beating depression is I'm a visual person. I need to be able to see something, sometimes like to see the why, right? So yeah, I have my kids here and all of that, but having like positive affirmations written down
Yeah.
or so that I feel like I've accomplished something. Because for me, if I felt like I went all day, and even though I could have been working, it doesn't mean that I was producing that time. So I feel like I just wasted all the time when I could have been doing something else. And now I have the mom guilt, I have the wife guilt, I have all of these different things. So for me, I have to write things down.
Mhm.
I have to be able to see that I've accomplished part of my goal. Like I posted a picture today. I've been trying to drink a gallon of water. I don't
Mhm.
keep track of how many bottles of water I drink. So what I did was I got me a gallon mug.
Right.
Mhm.
It's real cute too. It's like pink but I got that and I did that purposely so that way when I finish it, I have a self of accomplishment and I'm
Mhm.
not beating myself up because I already know that the enemy knows where to get me,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
He knows
He's a
where to get
strategist.
just like he knows how to get y'all. So what do you do to make sure
The
that you don't
enemy
get
is a strategist.
Yeah, he is
girl,
a
he is a
strategist.
strategist,
He is a
honey.
strategist.
He know
You know
your
what?
I
best and
think
he
we
know
give
your
that
stuff
joker too much
sometimes.
credit. I think
You
we give
know.
him way too much credit.
You know what? I mean, to think about it, like you know what, I go back to like even like the war room, right? So just like we have to have a strategy in prayer, right?
Mhm.
The Bible even talks about it. What the kingdom suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. How are we going to take something by force if we don't know our enemy? Our enemy is familiar with us. Come on, I mean, even he went to with Jesus, took him in the wilderness,
But
and
we
what his
make him familiar though. He's not all
Right.
knowing.
he's
That's
not
why I
all
say use
knowing.
your words. So if I'm telling him, I can't handle that.
Right.
I'm giving
No,
you
we
the
don't want to say
tools.
that.
My,
Right.
So I guess what I'm saying is we can't give him no foothold like he's not God. He is not
he's
all
not.
knowing. He's not all powerful. At the end of the day,
He's not.
the reality is most of what he has is because we've given it to him.
Right.
We have
But
given him
I
unknowingly,
mean, but he does know the
let's be real.
word
A lot
though,
of
so that's
people
all I
they
was
give it to
saying.
them
he know the word.
unknowingly.
I agree, but I'm
Yeah.
okay. You know the
So,
word. I agree.
so I'm saying I mean, why? So why would he? Why would you take? Why would you take? Why would anybody take and learn the strategy of somebody else's strategy book if they weren't trying to attack them? I'm just saying that we should just like we should have strategy. He has strategy. He's like it's like chess. It's like playing chess. He knows. He'll push this button. He'll put this stuff out of here, or he'll recognize what in your genealogy will push certain people's buttons. So what he'll do? He'll go to that and he'll like depression was her mama's. Depression was a grandmama's, this, and this. I mean, I get y'all. See you smiling. I know you coming
Now we're
for
talking
me.
about generational cursing.
I mean, so I'm just saying, like, I was just saying it as not to give him credit. He doesn't
Thank
deserve
you, Tanisha.
anything. I'm just saying, I forgot what I was saying. Go ahead.
I don't have anything to say. Keep
I
going.
forgot what I was even saying. I
But
forgot
at
my
the end
point.
of the day,
But this
at
is
the
what
end of the day, we
I'm
are
trying.
here to make sure that we are able to move forward. So we want to hear from those that are watching. What steps do you take in your everyday life to make sure that you either don't become depressed or don't go into that moment? Or what do you do when you start feeling yourself go into that moment? Like, we really want to just hear from you, because this platform is not just about the three of us. It's not just us running our mouth talking, whatever. It literally is to be able to help one another shift mindset, overcome obstacles, break chains, overcome depression, overcome or break generational curses. All of these things that literally have us bound, it's
Mhm.
time to start breaking those things off.
I think one of the things that I do is I reset my environment. You know, like if if I know I'm dealing with depression or if I feel myself sinking, I'm mindful of the things that I listen to. You know what I mean? And what if I'm sunken? You know, like a lot of times, you know, old school, what they used to listen to, them old sad depression. I love you, I love you. I love you. You know what I mean? And instead of listening to, I love you, put on something hype. You know what I mean? Instead of watching like some like tragedies on TV. Why don't you put on a comedy or something like that? These are fundamental things that work for me. So while I'm praying, and I still feel sunken, I kind of like lift my environment up. Like, I'll put on some worship. I'll put my worship on, because I know that takes me to a place where I am not even here anymore, and I'm sitting at the feet of the Father. But just for fundamentals, like when we, because at some point, we come out of His presence and His glories and looking at His toenails, we come back. And what is important not for me not to do is then turn on a romantic comedy tragedy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to watch beaches if I'm fighting depression. I don't need to be watching beaches, because beaches have fun and good moments, comical moments. But at the end of the day, at the end of the movie, she died. Okay, that touches me in a way, like, because I've had a lot of loss. I've lost about all that kind of stuff. So if I'm sunken, I need to bring myself up. So I need to put on something real stupid and foolish like the Clumps and just laugh at them fight or whatever. I have to find a way to bring myself, like, to just like shift my environment, not just with my words, definitely, because the power of life and death is in our words, through prayer, intercession, seeking the Father, worshiping, all this good stuff. And, I watch some good comedy. I listen to like some upbeat music. That's what helps me.
That's dope. Key. Don't get silent on us now.
Come on.
Come on.
If you gotta go back and address it.
Come on, say what you have to
Do
say
it.
now.
Come on.
I think that we give so much more credit, and so I think this is why it's difficult, y'all. Is we give so much more credit. Everything Chanel just said is something we choose. If I want to be sad, guess what I'm gonna do? And we do this. The reality is we have, this is why I said you have to dig deep. You got to be willing to go ugly with yourself. And we're not really prepared to do that part. The reality is so I have a bad breakup, and so I'm at, how did you get here?
Right.
That's me choosing, though. I'm choosing this place. That's why I'm saying, like, we're making it about the devil or the enemy. The enemy did not say, girl, get Deborah Cox and play her song.
Right.
I'm saying we have to be mature enough to deal with our ugly. That's the
Look
problem.
in the mirror.
That's why I
face
said
who
that
you are.
shame. Right.
Yeah.
You have to literally have the ability, because normally it's the guilt and the shame that causes it to be secret depression.
Yeah.
Because even in bad breakups, right, I chose this guy. So now I'm hard on myself as to why I chose this guy, why I made this decision, even about a job. So we don't deal with the core of us. That's what makes it depression. That's why I'm saying, like, we're gonna give it to the enemy, but the reality is he is not all knowing. Are there
Yeah.
generational curses? Absolutely. But at the very root of it, we have the ability to be curse breakers. Guess what we have to do? Choose. Our mamas could have chosen, our grandmothers could have chosen. It's about the choices that we make. Do I want to see my ugly? That's the problem. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that because I've allowed men to walk over me, because I've allowed my children to walk over or manipulate me, because I've allowed, or because I didn't deal with my childhood trauma from my dad, or because I didn't deal with. So we don't want to deal with that stuff. So because I haven't dealt with this stuff, I become this person, and I've set wrong expectations. I've not required. And then when people walk and treat me like trash, so now I have all of this stuff. The reality is that we have to get to a place of getting down to the root of us, to why there's a root, why there was a hurt, inner heal, go through that stuff, and then love you, accept you. The reality is I'm imperfect. You're going to be imperfect. Do I like everything about me? No. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, the faster that I can accept who I am, the faster I can work on becoming a better person, the faster I can work on coming out of that depression. Because guess what? My focus is evolving Nakia to be the best Nakia. It's evolving to the next level, the next challenge. And if you never get down to the ugly of who you are, you can't get to the beautiful. You can't get to the heal. You can't get to the whole or even the not depressed because you haven't dealt with the ugly. So guess what happens? You come out of this because you've hyped yourself up with some good music and some good TV, but guess what? You get a trigger.
You deal with the root of it.
You back because you didn't get to
deal with the root
of you. And it's normally us. We point the fingers outwardly at, oh, well, my husband disappointed me because he didn't do this. He's inconsistent. He didn't follow through. You chose that inconsistent, unfollowing through man for a reason. So go back to you and figure out your why. Figure out how I arrived here. Figure out what made me choose this path and why didn't I accept it? So that way you can forgive yourself, heal, love your husband until he's consistent. Get that hello. I'm a love
That's
you.
a whole nother look. A whole nother. One thing I want to point out, which has been on the screen, I think it's important that if you cannot do it yourself, that it is okay to seek help. I wish that in my 20s, in my 30s, that I really was like, let me go get some help. And then everybody is not meant to help you, right? So for me, I know I went to go see a therapist one time. The very first day, within 30 minutes, I had some drugs assigned to me. I had antidepressants. All I needed, looking back at it, all I needed was to talk about what I was feeling because I couldn't even put my feelings into words enough. But if he had walked me through that, or if I had somebody to walk me through that process and what that looks like, then I could have been better much quicker. But then I may not be doing what I'm doing today. I definitely believe in healing your whole self. I don't believe in surface cleaning. When you come with me, we are not surface cleaning any areas. We are going to get down up under the rug. We are going to move some stuff out of the way. We are going to go backwards, to your first hurt. Like there's so many steps that are necessary and people don't understand why, because your first hurt set the pattern for how you deal with hurt. If somebody shuts you up, now you dealing with, my voice doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're dealing with so many other things that we grew up around, as well. And so we have to get to a place, like we've been saying, you must identify it because that's what it is. It's an it. The situation happened. It's an it, so that we can really get to a place of moving forward. I know our time is about to wrap up. Want to kind of shoot through the points really quick. We can go ahead and go through them really quick. Tips for overcoming depression: prayer, seeking and spending time in God's presence. You want to say something, Keith? Oh, okay. Another tip: know that your mental, spiritual, and physical health is for you. It is not for anyone else. It is okay to seek help, seek a coach, a therapist. A lot of times you may even get a free consultation. I know that I have services. I know that Key has services as well. Our information is in the comment section. So connect with us, reach out to us. At the end of the day, we're about the Father's business. And part of that is definitely to walk in our healing. Another tip is to shift your mindset. The enemy wants your thoughts to focus only on the negative. Counteract those thoughts with something positive, of course, and know that there is a way out. You have to make the decision. Scripture does say that all things work together for the good. So ask yourself, what good can come out of this? Because for me, I had to go through hell and high water in my early 20s and 30s to do what I'm doing today. So I understand today, but I wish that I had understood it back then. What is your environment like? You may need to change the people that you hang around. You may need to change your job. You may need to move. What's causing you to consistently go backwards versus consistently moving forward? Definitely pay attention to yourself. Look, I should add some water. When you begin to get into a space of something is happening, pause, identify that thing where you're beginning to feel okay. Like I need you to really just get to that place of figuring it out. Another tip is for moving beyond that not okay moment is understanding that no matter what or how low you are, Jesus will come in and lift you out, but you have to give it to him. And last but not least, your depression is not shocking to God. Do not let the enemy stay playing around in your mind, in your environment, in your surroundings. Like he said, we give him too much credit. Don't even allow him to go into that. Ladies, do we have any closing thoughts before we go ahead and get off the air?
What I would just say is just literally like be okay with you. One of the things I think that as people we struggle with is our identity. We don't say that all the time, but like sometimes you just got to peel back the layers and be okay with you in the face of the Father. Like there shouldn't be shame. So at your lowest, at your dirtiest, at some of the worst things that you have could have ever done, could have ever thought about, the Father isn't going to shun you. The Father is going to love us into purpose. So I would say for any person at home struggling with low moments, struggling with depression, I would say start just uncovering you and being okay with it. Like we don't have to, we look and seek validation, even though we say we don't. I don't care. I got on my clothes. We do. We want the world to accept us and love us. We want our peers and our friends to love us. But the reality is there is no love like the love of the Father. And so when you begin to get in those dry places, those dark places, those dark moments, the Father is not judgmental. The Father is trustworthy. The Father is a healer and a deliverer. So, even if you don't trust people, if you don't have anybody to talk to, you literally can talk to the Father. I literally talk to him about every single thing. I tell people no matter how many prayer calls I'm on a day, I make sure that I have prayer alone with him because guess what? He is my fixer. He is bigger for me. So I need to be able to talk to him about the stuff that I can't share in front of anybody. And so I would challenge every person at home that if you have experienced depression, if you are struggling, where you feel isolated, where you feel alone, I would challenge you to just begin to challenge the Father to expose to you, because sometimes we don't know, we don't see it. So expose to you who you are, exposed to you some of those tender areas so that he can heal them, because only he can heal it. That's first. But in order for him to heal it, you got to be able to accept it and say, you know what, Lord, yep, I give it to you. I see you in this moment and we're going to heal it and we're going to move past it, because we get triggered and go back to those places because we haven't healed. So allow the Holy Spirit into the moments of depression. Allow him into your shame and your guilt. Allow him, because people you don't want to show that to, but the Father, he'll heal you, he'll deliver you. And it's that simple for him. So that's why I'm saying that, like at home, give it to the Father. You can get you a friend and you can get you a therapist. But when you just want to scream, shout, literally, he listens. He's not judgmental. He's not saying, girl, you too loud. That's that sister girl. He literally is listening. And I guarantee you, he'll begin to show you in little ways. One other thing that Coach Shay said is about affirmations. I'm a firm believer. Any person, whether it's coaching, whether it's just me mentoring, whether it's me ministering, affirmations are always impactful, because if you go to sleep today sad and you got affirmations, trust me, when you get up in the morning and you go to your mirror or your computer screen and you see, I am powerful, I am loved, I am beautiful, I am, fearfully and wonderfully made. When you can see those things and begin to make those declarations, it gives you a power like no other. So begin to use your words to speak positive, get you some affirmations, but also get you a direct relationship with the Father, because his love, his healing is like no other.
Absolutely.
That's
And
good.
Chanel,
I would say, as
all
Shay
that you
had
said,
already
right? All
said,
that you said.
that you know what, just remember your why is really important.
Yeah.
Remember your why, and don't forget to shift your environment. Speak to your environment. Put on your worship. Like fight. Remember why you fight, and then fight.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in again. If you are watching live, hashtag live. If you are watching the replay, which I'm sure a lot of people will be, hashtag that replay. We do invite you to join us next Tuesday. We don't have a topic yet because sometimes we'll pick something and then all of a sudden the spirit moves differently and we were like, we need to shift our topic. So we don't have it as well, but we do plan on coming back every Tuesday to break these generational curses. Just have open, honest, candid conversations. We do ask that you like, follow, subscribe, share all of our platforms. Again, they are in the comment section as well. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you again. Bye.